quickest lead of the game. A walk-up three, Tatum, butter. This one's starting to look very much like the previous two against the Knicks. And if New York had any notions about being a contender, at some point they're going to have to be competitive against Boston.
The Celtics get the win.
Harsh.
Second straight win, their first at home after the All-Star break against the Knicks. 118-105 the final. Welcome to Celtics post-game live. Caleb Burton, Chris, Scal, Eddie with you. I mean, look, they had the 27 lead, as large as 27 points from the Celtics. The Knicks came back, especially in that third quarter, cut it to 4. But Scal, Jayson Tatum and company just continued on and got the win.
We're just, like, when we play this way, this motivated, we're just on a different level. The Knicks are they're just a notch below. So we could probably, I'm not saying you can cross those guys off the list at this point, but it's like, I think we probably should be looking north at Cleveland. You could probably look at Oklahoma City. It just, I don't know. I just don't feel like they're in the same category as what we are from the start of the season, the middle of the season, and then now, like whatever, the home stretch of the season. We're just better.
I will say this is the first adversity the Celtics have really faced since, and discarding that Dallas game that they lost, probably since the start of the month, that 26-point rally against Philadelphia. And I know there's a break in between, but, they've kind of got punched in that third quarter. Tatum's on the bench to start the fourth. And what happens? Derek White hits a couple big threes. KP has the blocks. You just kind of get that mojo back going. So that's good. It was good for them to have to be put in that situation, to have to respond, and then to rip this thing right back open to where the final score isn't even as indicative of what their dominance was out there. So I just like the way they play. I like the mojo that they can find yet again. And, man, this team's rolling right now.
Yeah.
Man, I'll say this. It got close for 1 second. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, they trying to make a run right now. And then all of a sudden, bam, 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 bam. And again, Kayla, you was talking about how you got whooped, right?
You get any text about that?
You gotta get reminded sometimes. It's like, oh, like I was saying, you think it's cool until you get whooped again, and then you gotta fall in line. And then that's all that happened. They took the belt off, they got to him, and on top of that, I just like the way that we played. I thought that we got a little enamored and we fell in love too much with the 3-point shot in that third quarter to allow them to come back in. We didn't attack the paint the way we did the whole game, the first part in the first half. And I thought we just shot a lot of threes. But then once we started getting back to attacking and then shrinking the floor and then taking the threes when we had them, then that's when I looked at they don't stand a chance, man. The Knicks don't stand a chance. And if you're a Knicks fan, and I'm saying this right now, if you're a Knicks fan and you think Mitchell Robinson, and that is no disrespect to him, and everybody says when you say there's no disrespect, some disrespect.
It's the justification.
Right?
Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you think that he's going to change your season when he comes back to make it seem like you guys can make a deep run in the playoffs, then I feel bad for you.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting, too, because, the Celtics had that big first quarter mark, right? And then you see the third quarter, you see in between a 27-point lead at one point. But then the Knicks, Brunson and Cat, come out and do their thing. They score double figures in that third quarter alone, cut it to 4. Scals, there's something in your mind that's like, does it get iffy at all? Are you ever like, okay, where are the Celtics? Where are they actually at? Because you have such a big lead, and then boom, here come the Knicks that we say, isn't that great of a team right now, but can make a run like they did?
If you watch that, they still got good shots. You can miss good shots and you can make tough shots, but they got good shots. And because they were knocking those shots, at that point when the Knicks were making the run, they kind of thrived off of us missing those wide open looks. So, yeah, we got bogged down, but that happens. If you are consistent throughout the game and you get a bunch of wide open looks, and that's what you have to look at. You can't look at necessarily the score or how much we're up. Are we getting and I think Eddie said this at the half. If you were from Mars and you came down to watch a basketball game, you see one team getting all these wide open looks and you see the other team really struggling for every single shot they got. So even though in that third quarter they made a run, we still got good looks. I didn't like our attention to detail defensively during that stretch, but it feels like we can get anything we want against that team.
It's always refreshing if you're a Celtics fan to know that your starters, all of them scored in double digits, including Jaylen Brown. He finished with 24. He was 10 of 21 shooting tonight. He's standing by with Abby at the Garden.
Jalen, the Knicks cut the lead to 7 going into the fourth. What was said inside the huddle, and how much did you put on your shoulders?
Just stay poised. Don't let the momentum kind of like get into our brain. They went on a run. We had to clean it up. Just playing good basketball. We had some, at times we get a little bit out of control. But, it's nothing to get it back going. We just got to make sure we in the right spots.
Yeah, to what level did the defense go in the fourth?
Defense is everything. I think we played great defensively, kept them at 105, and even could have been a little bit better. I could be a little bit better on both ends. I wasn't feeling my best today, but we just got to keep pushing. It's a long journey. We got to take every day. Can't take anything for granted and just keep playing basketball.
JB, flu game? You okay?
I'm all right, yeah. Just, early games are tough, but, can't make no excuses. Got to still be there, make the right plays. Had some turnovers, had an offensive foul, work on that stuff every day, so we got to be better. That's it.
Jalen, this Knicks team beefed up over the summer to try and compete with you guys. You've now gone 3-0 against them with double-digit wins in every game. What kind of message does that send?
No message. I think we just, have been playing some good ball, and maybe we caught them on a bad day. Anything can happen in the playoffs, so we're not overlooking anybody, so we just got to get ready for the playoffs.
Jalen, certainly look good tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats.
All right. Jaylen Brown there. I like what he said at the end there. It doesn't say anything. It's not a statement. Some of these are just wins here. And we're here looking at the Eastern Conference standings. You can see Celtics 5.5 games behind the Cavs now, beating the Knicks. And now, look, the Knicks were 3 games going into this. They were 3 games behind the Celtics. They now dropped to 9.5 games.
It'd be a real shame if we saw the Knicks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a tough series.
Not easy. Jaylen Brown, I like what he said there. I like the demeanor. You may be sick. We don't even know. But the fact that they're still able to, play that the way that they did. And even though they did have a big dip in that third quarter, Eddie, what stands out to you about just Jaylen Brown, his overall demeanor of how he's playing and how this team is right now?
Jaylen Brown balling, he doing what he's doing, but at the same time, this is a statement. So he kind of sugarcoating it right now. And Scal, you know this. In the locker room, what they saying?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, they think.
Well,
yeah,
we can't even say it on air.
Wait, can I ask
we
this,
can't
though?
say what
Is it a statement?
Yeah, you know what we saying? No, it's for real though. No, seriously though.
Yeah.
That's a statement game. Y'all thought y'all ain't nowhere near us. Y'all nowhere close to what we are. And when we come in that locker room, it's gonna be a lot of this, that's, and the thirds.
I think I could do it. I'll do it for you. All right. Hey,
all right, do it for me.
I'm going into your house. Hey, man, go grab me a beer and give me your keys because I'm going to take your car out later on, right? And matter of fact, when I get back, you better have some groceries in the fridge. That's what we doing here, okay? Because we own y'all. You're just over here. You're just renting space in your own house. That's kind of stuff what we say. There'll be some more words in there, but pretty much that's it. We own y'all.
That's the gist of it. What's the
pretty much.
Give me your keys, give me the beer, give me everything.
Give me everything you got.
The groceries. Matter of fact, pull up the Uber, you got it.
Yeah, and by the way, wax my car twice.
By the way, Uber X.
Wax your car so I can drive it, so I look fresh when I'm driving your car.
You see it there. The scoreboard presented by Jeffrey Glassman, injury lawyers. Hurt? You got to get Glassman. Basically, that score is just what all of Scouts just said. 118 to 105. Give me the keys. Give me the groceries.
Hey, go pick up my Uber Eats.
Actually, tomorrow I have some plans too. You can handle that.
Wash my car.
Yeah.
I need the oil change too. Get that done for me.
Look, JT almost got his 5th career triple-double. Just 1 assist short from that. So give me the keys to the car. They deserve it. All right. Coming up after the break, we talked about the Knicks really just having themselves a hot third quarter, 39 points in the third quarter. We're going to show you what happened and how the Knicks that we say, isn't that great of a team right now, but can make a run like they did.
If you watch that, they still got good shots. You can miss good shots and you can make tough shots, but they got good shots. And because they were knocking those shots, at that point when the Knicks were making the run, they kind of thrived off of us missing those wide open looks. So, yeah, we got bogged down, but that happens. If you are consistent throughout the game and you get a bunch of wide open looks, and that's what you have to look at. You can't look at necessarily the score or how much we're up. Are we getting and I think Eddie said this at the half. If you were from Mars and you came down to watch a basketball game, you see one team getting all these wide open looks and you see the other team really struggling for every single shot they got. So even though in that third quarter they made a run, we still got good looks. I didn't like our attention to detail defensively during that stretch, but it feels like we can get anything we
under the bright lights of TD Garden, the Boston Celtics took the floor with a clear objective: assert their dominance over the New York Knicks for the third time this season and send a definitive message about where both teams stand in the Eastern Conference hierarchy. From the opening tip, the energy was palpable, and Boston wasted no time making its presence felt. With an explosive first quarter that saw them build a commanding 27-point lead, the Celtics looked every bit like the juggernaut they have been all season. But as the game unfolded, New York clawed its way back, cutting the deficit to just 4 points in the third quarter. It was a moment of adversity, perhaps the first real challenge Boston had faced in weeks, but in the end, Jayson Tatum and company had all the answers, securing a 118-105 victory in front of a roaring home crowd. This win marked Boston's second straight triumph and their first at home following the All-Star break. More significantly, it reinforced the gap between the Celtics and the Knicks, who entered the season hoping to establish themselves as legitimate contenders but have repeatedly come up short against the Eastern Conference's elite. If New York harbored any aspirations of making a deep playoff run, performances like these raised serious doubts about their ability to compete at the highest level. The game itself was a microcosm of the disparity between these two teams. Boston came out of the gates with surgical precision, moving the ball crisply, knocking down shots, and locking in defensively. Tatum, the unquestioned leader of this Celtics squad, orchestrated the offense masterfully, finding his rhythm early and setting the tone. The Knicks, on the other hand, struggled to generate clean looks, often forced into difficult, contested shots as Boston's defensive pressure suffocated their sets. Then came the inevitable push from New York. Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns spearheaded a third-quarter surge, each putting up double figures in the frame. The Celtics, perhaps growing too comfortable with their lead, fell in love with the three-point shot, straying from the balanced inside-out attack that had built their advantage. The Knicks capitalized, stringing together stops and hitting timely buckets to inject life into what had been a lopsided affair. For a brief moment, it seemed like momentum had shifted. The TD Garden crowd, which had been in full celebration mode, grew restless as New York cut the deficit to 4. But this is where championship-caliber teams separate themselves. Instead of folding under pressure, Boston responded like a team with championship aspirations. Derek White, a steadying presence all season, knocked down a pair of crucial three-pointers to stop the bleeding. Kristaps Porzingis, the rim-protecting anchor, came up with key blocks that stymied the Knicks' offensive rhythm. And then there was Tatum, who, despite sitting at the start of the fourth quarter, returned to ice the game with a series of cold-blooded plays that left no doubt about the outcome. Boston didn't just regain control, they reasserted their dominance, stretching the lead back out and ensuring the final score accurately reflected the game's true nature. For the Knicks, this loss was more than just another tally in the L column. It was an indictment of where they stand in the Eastern Conference pecking order. Boston has now beaten them 3 times this season, each victory coming by double digits. If New York hoped to challenge the Celtics come playoff time, they needed to prove they could compete. Instead, they were handed another humbling lesson. After the game, Jaylen Brown addressed the Knicks' late push, acknowledging that Boston had to weather a storm in that third quarter but never truly felt threatened. "Stay poised," he said when asked what was discussed in the huddle. "They went on a run, we had to clean it up, but we knew we were in control." That confidence is telling. The Celtics know who they are. They know their formula for success. And when the moment demands it, they have the personnel and the experience to execute at the highest level. Defensively, Boston continued to showcase the traits that have made them a nightmare for opponents all season. They held the Knicks to 105 points, with stretches of the game where New York struggled to generate quality looks. Brown, who wasn't feeling 100% but still delivered an impactful performance, emphasized the team's defensive identity. "Defense is everything," he stated. "We could have been even better, but we held them where we needed to." Perhaps the most telling statistic of the night was the balance in Boston's starting 5. Every Celtics starter finished in double figures, a testament to their depth and unselfish play. Brown led the way with 24 points on 10 of 21 shooting, while Tatum flirted with a triple-double, finishing with 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, just one dime short of his 5th career triple-double. And then there's the psychological factor. While Brown diplomatically downplayed any statement narrative, make no mistake, Boston has made it abundantly clear that they own the Knicks. Whether in TD Garden or Madison Square Garden, it hasn't mattered. The Celtics have imposed their will each time these teams have met. In the locker room, the message was likely less restrained. As former players on the broadcast put it, Boston has established ownership over New York, treating these matchups like visits to their own personal rental property. Looking ahead, this victory keeps Boston firmly in control of the Eastern Conference standings, now sitting at 45-12, maintaining a comfortable lead over Cleveland and Milwaukee. The Knicks, meanwhile, drop further back, now 9.5 games behind the Celtics. If the playoffs began today, it's hard to imagine a scenario where New York could realistically pose a threat to a fully engaged Boston squad. As the regular season winds down, the Celtics continue to prove why they are the team to beat in the East. The chemistry is evident, the defensive intensity is unwavering, and the star power is undeniable. While teams like Oklahoma City and Cleveland might be rising threats, the Knicks, as currently constructed, don't appear to be on Boston's level. And if these matchups have taught us anything, it's that when the Celtics play with the focus and motivation they showed tonight, they are simply operating in a different stratosphere.